Human beings interact with one another daily, and the lives of diverse people in society are linked in some way. Our intertwining is influenced by a variety of things, one of which is our social status, which is directly linked with social roles. For this session, we will be discussing social role, the lesson 1 of Module 3. The following are the most essential learning competencies of this lesson. 1. Distinguish the various roles of different individuals in society and how they can influence people through their leadership or followership. 2. Compare one's perception of himself/herself and how others see him/her. 3. Conduct a mini-survey on Filipino relationships, family, school, and community. Take note of these objectives because we are obliged to achieve them. As we discuss the lesson, try to look for the answer to the following questions. 1. What is a social role? 2. What is the connection between social status and social role? 3. What are leadership and followership in the context of social status and social role? There are a variety of methods in which we socially build our surroundings. To put it another way, we use our social connections with others to make sense of our lives and give them meaning. We do this in part by constructing social institutions that provide us with indications on how to act. 2 of these structures are statuses and roles. Status is the position that each person owns in a society that is relative to those of others. A person's status can be either ascribed given to them at birth or achieved earned through effort. Individuals of a given social status are expected to have certain responsibilities in society. These expectations placed on people of a certain social status in terms of behavior, obligations, and rights are called social roles. A social role is a set of actions that someone with a certain status is expected to exhibit. It's easy to mix up status and role, but the main distinction is that we possess a status while playing a role. Every status has a set of expected behaviors referred to as a role. A woman, for example, becomes a mother when she decides to have a child and therefore assumes the role of mother. She is also supposed to act as a mother to her children by caring for and loving them, among other things. Role expectations, however, can shift over time and differ among cultures. It wasn't long ago that moms were expected to stay at home with their children and keep house while their husbands worked. This still happens in our culture, but it is no longer a severe expectation of the mother's position. It is simply an acceptable alternative. A mother working outside the home, on the other hand, is still considered odd or even unacceptable in other societies. We all have multiple statuses and play the roles that come with each one. A status might sometimes have multiple roles attached to it. This is referred to as a role set. A teacher, for example, has one duty in connection to his students, another in respect to his colleagues, yet another concerning the school board, and so forth. Role theory. Every member of society is allocated a set of behaviors called social roles. The world is envisioned as a stage in the concept of social roles, and people who take on various social roles are thought of like actors. The role theory, which is based on the fact that people behave in predictable ways, proposes the idea that a person's behaviors are not categorizable. It states that a person's behavior is context-dependent, based on factors such as social status. Individuals who attain the same social rank are expected to behave consistently. The 5 major modules of social role theory, according to sociologist Bruce Biddle, are: functional role theory. The difficulty of explaining social order was central to functionalist thought. Stable but distinct behaviors were assumed to exist in social systems because they served a purpose and because actors in those systems had similar behavioral expectations. Consensual expectations or roles established conduct norms, and actor conformance to norms was induced either by sanctions imposed by others in the system or by the actor internalizing them. Furthermore, individuals in the system were assumed to be cognizant of the norms they upheld and could be counted on to instruct, i.e., socially neophytes as they arrived. Functional role theory examines social roles with importance to shared social norms. Symbolic interaction role theory. This model focuses on the impact of individual interpretation of responses to behavior on social roles. A role, according to symbolic interactionists, is a course of action undertaken by an individual within a specific situation. Pre-existing standards that apply to the actor's social status, the actor's views and attitudes, the actor's perception and portrayal of self, and the definition of the situation that grows as the actor and others interact all have an impact on roles. Although roles do not have to share the same aspects, they are likely to become extremely similar among actors who encounter comparable issues in similar situations. Structural role theory. Role concepts have also been used by structuralists and network theorists. Structuralism usually focuses on the logical consequences of different ways of arranging social systems such as social positions and roles and avoids discussing norms or other expectation concepts. Much of structural role theory research has so far been expressed in formal, mathematical terms. Organizational role theory. The interest in organizational role theory cast doubt on the notion that social stability requires consensus norms. Instead, this model suggested that formal organizations were frequently marked by role conflict, i.e., opposing norms held by powerful others for actors, that such conflicts posed problems for both the actors and the organizations in which they appeared, and that strategies for coping with or resolving role conflict could be researched. Organizational role theory also investigates the evolution of roles in organizations. Cognitive role theory. Conformity to a variety of expectations has been studied by cognitive social psychologists, including instrumental norms, moral norms, norms attributed to others, self-fulfilling prophecies, beliefs about the self such as those induced by identity projection or labeling, beliefs about others, and preferences or attitudes. These studies suggest that roles are frequently generated by two or more modes of expectational thought, and several modules have emerged from cognitive social psychology. In a nutshell, cognitive role theory examines the relationship between expectations and behaviors. Leadership and followership. Leadership and followership are one of the basic and significant statuses that individuals play in social groups and institutions. As a status, being a leader and being a follower, they have significant roles to perform. Leadership and followership are performed simultaneously depending on his status in specific social groups. For example, Juanito being a son is a follower, but as the president in the class, he is a leader. The link between leadership and is direct. Both are beneficial to one another. The leader and follower framework illustrate leaders need followers, and followers need leaders. To put it in other words, leaders not only provide support to those that follow them but to followers in their pursuit of success. Leaders and followers are not different entities, rather, they establish a dynamic interaction when they join together. If there are no followers, a leader cannot lead, and a follower cannot follow if there is no leader. Leadership. The act of leading is referred to as leadership. It is frequently used to describe a person or a group of people who motivates and inspires others to improve their lives. Every organization needs a leader to oversee the execution of duties by the staff. A leader contributes to his team's good orientation by teaching them the value of hard effort, the importance of time, and the importance of setting goals. A leader is the epitome of inspiration. With this, here are the qualities of a good leadership. Honesty. When you lead a group of people, you are expected to be truthful in your guidance. You are the role model for them. They look up to you as an inspiration, and you are the most important source of encouragement for them. Inspiring. When you appoint a new group of leaders, they look up to you. They believe what you say. So, use caution when conversing with them. When you interact with your team as a leader, They look to you for guidance and inspiration. Relationship builder. It is easier to work together when both the leader and the follower have a good relationship. The leader's friendly demeanor and team conducting technique are what make him desired and loved by his team. It is the ultimate strategy for getting people to follow instructions. Appreciative. It is critical to express gratitude to your followers or team members. The most important aspect of any job is appreciation. When a person is recognized by his superiors and colleagues, his confidence grows. The concept of followership coexisted with the concept of leadership. A follower is influenced and inspired by a leader. Leaders cannot exist without followers. It is the follower who convinces the leader that he is doing good for others. They are the ones who regard a leader's teachings as a guide to life and the ultimate source of guidance in carrying out their responsibilities. A follower not only follows in his leader's footsteps, but also supports and encourages him to do better. Some characteristics of a good follower are as follows: loyalty and obedience. To have a dynamic followership, one must be loyal to their leader. Leaders play an important role in leading their teams toward a common goal in the corporate world. To achieve the goal, the followers must follow the instructions given by their leader. Diligence. A follower must be diligent for the leader's teachings and instructions to be effective. A task can only be successful if it is correctly executed and distributed to the appropriate people. Cooperative. This is one of the most important characteristics of a good follower. The ability to work as part of a group is what makes a leader's job easier. Ambitious. Ambition is one factor that increases one's chances of success and growth. The path is shown by the leader, and the followers walk it while keeping their goals in mind. Society is like a stage, and individuals are like actors on that stage, having to play various roles within various social institutions. Each individual has a unique status within various institutions of society. They must fulfill a set of roles associated with their assigned or achieved status within a specific institution. Within the institution of family, for example, one may hold the status of a child or a parent. However, at work, he or she could be an administrator or a member of the staff. As a result, an individual's status dictates the roles that must be played. As parents, they are responsible for meeting their children's needs, while children are expected to respect and obey their parents. The performance of one's roles is a vital factor in the stability of groups and institutions.